Say what you will about the character of Rey in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, but the actress who plays her, Daisy Ridley, is an absolute gem and a bright spot in the Star Wars community. Watch in real time as she shuts down this reporter's baiting question about quote-unquote extreme Star Wars fans, and watch how she actually sticks up for the fandom. Check it out.
Speaking of Sharmeen, I just have to ask, because there are some of the, I'd say, extreme Star Wars fans who have made this a conversation on the internet about how they don't want a female director. Which seems bizarre because episodes of The Mandalorian were directed by females. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy has been overseeing all of this. So, what is your take on that?
I think my take is things get blown out of proportion. And the interactions I've ever had with people have been nothing but wonderful and supportive. And honestly, the day we announced that I was coming back at Celebration last year, you cannot imagine the joy and goodwill in that room. So I've only ever been embraced. And I think we're going to make a great film and people
We cannot wait.
Tell us more about the film itself.
I'm gonna watch this movie just for those statements now. There's this continuing narrative in the media that Star Wars fans are sexist, that we hate women, we don't like the fact that women are in charge of Star Wars right now, which is patently untrue. It's just clickbait headlines and an easy way to get people to look at their articles. I mean, Rolling Stones made an article about Star Wars Theory himself, talking about this very thing. And I mean, it's really cool that a high-profile Star Wars YouTuber is making the rounds in, I guess, what used to be mainstream. I'll call it corporate news. It's not exactly mainstream anymore, but you know what I mean. I just wish it were under better circumstances and they weren't trying to portray him and other Star Wars fans as something that we're not. And here is Daisy Ridley herself sticking up for the fandom, saying that a lot of these accusations of sexism and bigotry are just blown out of proportion, and she is absolutely correct. You would think that since she played one of the most controversial characters in the sequel trilogy, that she would be getting a whole lot of criticism for it, but according to her, she's only been embraced by the fandom. We've been through too many instances of the Jake Lloyds, the Ahmed Bests, the Kelly Marie Trans, even the Hayden Christensens, who just did their job as actors but got a lot of hate for their portrayal of their characters. And notice how 3 out of the 4 of those are men. Just saying. The fans know that the actors are not to blame. In fact, a lot of this controversy around this new Rey movie specifically comes down to the director, Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy, and how she recently said that it's about time a woman steps in to shape Star Wars, which is really interesting considering that the baiting reporter who asked Daisy this question in the first place listed off all of the women who have previously worked in Star Wars. The directors in The Mandalorian, Kathleen Kennedy herself, who is literally the head of Lucasfilm right now. The ladies have been in charge of Star Wars for a while now, and that's kind of the reason that Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy was facing that criticism, is because she's not the first. It's not about time, it's been time. The ladies have been in charge. What are you talking about? Then, of course, there was this clip that surfaced, and it just added more fuel to the fire.
And is that a part of the calculation of your art as well, and what's been the reaction to that?
Oh, absolutely. I like to make men uncomfortable. I enjoy making men uncomfortable.
And to her credit, to be 100% fair, this was taken out of context by a lot of people, in fact, and she said this in reference to one of her independent films that highlighted life in the Middle East for women, which is actually really noble, and this had nothing to do with Star Wars. In fact, this happened years ago. I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, so this clip was definitely taken out of context. But out of context clips aside, Daisy is absolutely right that a lot of what the media says about the fans is blown way out of proportion. It's simply not true. As a fan, you could have any level of legitimate, authentic criticism for what you see in Disney Star Wars if you don't like it, and you can explain why you don't like it, and you'll still get labeled something that you're not, an ist, a phobe, whatever it is. At least Daisy gets it, and it sounds like she's with the fans on this one. This is the kind of positive press that Lucasfilm and Disney need for Star Wars. They don't need any more actors or directors coming out and speaking against the fandom. They need more actors and directors coming in and speaking for the fandom, the way that Daisy is here. And I personally just find the argument that we fans don't like Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy as a director because she's a woman extremely disingenuous. If we don't like directors because they're women, where was this level of hate or criticism for Patty Jenkins and Rogue Squadron when that got announced? Do you guys remember that announcement?
So when he lost his life in service to this country, it ignited a desire in me to turn all of that tragedy and thrill into one day making the greatest fighter pilot movie of all time. But try as I might and look as I did, I couldn't find the right story ever. I kept looking and looking, but I just couldn't find the right one until now. Now I found a movie about two things I love. So I'm going to see you very soon.
That is how you announce a Star Wars movie. She had a story to tell using her own life experiences as the daughter of a fighter pilot, and she showed genuine passion for it. There was zero focus on how groundbreaking it was that Patty Jenkins would be the first female director of a Star Wars movie. Everybody clap. There was nothing like that. Nobody cared about that because all we cared about was getting a good story. And here we have a director who seemed like she actually cared about what she was making with personal life experiences to make it as authentic as possible. And we can't ask for much more than that. What? Making something for the fans? Naturally, it gets canceled. Nobody had any issue with Patty Jenkins directing a Star Wars movie. No one had any issue with Bryce Dallas Howard directing episodes of The Mandalorian. Everyone sings Marcia Lucas's praises and how she saved Star Wars in the edit back in 1977. I won't deny that there's some bad apples in the bunch. I think that's true for any fandom. But to paint the entire fandom with the same broad brush of this fandom is sexist or this fandom is a phobe or whatever they're going to call us, it's just disingenuous. And I'm really grateful that Daisy Ridley has the balls to come out and say, nah, this is stupid. But I want to pass it off to the comments section now. What do you guys think about this? I wasn't all that hyped for this movie, but after hearing Daisy say these things, I think she has my support. So what about you guys? Share your thoughts below. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed today's commentary, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and getting notified for more Star Wars content. I normally don't make videos like this. This channel is geared more towards the video game side of Star Wars, but Star Wars gaming is kind of dead right now, so we're putting our feelers out there to see what sticks. Anyway, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.